You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah, yeah. Pop it, pop it. Pop it, pop it. Pop it, pop it. And I'm gonna be done with easy. And your shawty keep saying she need me. If she pull up, she know how to treat me. But I just wanna see you get freaky. I put it down, gotta say she need me. I gotta come in over tryna.
Alright, we on another episode of Touch a Nerd. Tonight we got a special guest, CMB the Villain, as y'all know him. Recording artist, you know what I'm saying? Icon, the homie. I know him as my nephew.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It's a pleasure and an honor to have you on the podcast tonight.
A pleasure to be here, man.
So tonight we're talking about popularity. We're talking about style. And we're talking about image, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And how that plays a role in the music industry. Just a lot of different things have changed over time when it comes to like what can make or break a person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it wasn't no better person to have on the show to talk about that than my swagged up Papa nephew. Because ever since he was a little kid, man, I always knew he was different. You know what I'm saying? He always had his own style. It always seemed like he was just in his own little bubble, man. You know what I'm saying? And from that, I just saw you take that and captivate it into your own little entity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, with that being said, you know, there's different lanes to be in. You know, you got people doing, making content. You got people making music. We're doing a lot of different things that involve putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the image you put out there, the image you don't put out there could make or break you.
Right.
So with that being said, man, I know you've been doing your music thing, big up in that.
I appreciate
You know what I'm saying? You've been shining. I really been paying attention to your lyrics and the music you've been putting out. And I want to tell you that I'm really, really impressed, dog. Keep doing your thing. Keep shining. You know what I'm saying? Keep striving. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, dog, just keep doing you.
No,
You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, like, how did you originally start? Because we all started in some wannabe era. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, as a young child, we all growing up trying to find, you know, who we are and what makes us who we are, which is a whole stew pot of shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can, at my age, you know, I just had a birthday. I'm old motherfucker. But with that being said, I can go through each generation and see where each generation molded me to where I'm at today.
Right.
But each generation was a whole different vibe. Like, depending on what I was doing, where I was going,
Right.
like, everything was different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, in the beginning, you know, when did you first realize that, you know, I kind of want to do this, or this is where I want to be?
Right. Well, to really break that down for real, I had to go all the way back to the beginning for real. So, like, I started off as an MTV baby for real. Like,
oh, you barely made it in the golden age.
yeah. I started out in the MTV/BET era for real. And I'm talking about, like, when I say early, I mean, like, yes, I was 3, 4, 5, 6 watching BET, MTV all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean, like, I turn it on in the mornings on them days where I ain't had to go to school, and I'd let it play all the way until it go off.
So you was whopping like pop-up video.
Yes, yeah.
Love pop-up video.
Yeah, I used to love, like, just watching all type of the music videos and stuff, and not even just the hip-hop stuff for real. Like, you know, back in MTV era, like, they used to play the R&B and pop songs, anything that was hot at the time. And I've always just been a fan of creativity for real. So, like, you know, just seeing, yeah, it's nice things and stuff in the videos, of course, but it's the way they putting together these storylines, you know what I'm saying, to let it match the music. Like, that was something that always stood out. Like, music to me back then, it wasn't like music. It was more like watching a movie. But it was like, you know, in a musical sense, for real. Like, it felt like a real musical back then. And like I said, like, I grew up on that hard all the way up to probably about to like 13, for real. But back to what you were saying, my brother, for real, he always been a music head, because we both didn't always shared the music hand. Like, we've always loved listening to
Shout
music.
out Quanty, man.
Yeah, shout out to my brother Quanty, man, for real. But we both equally always just loved to listen to music. And I remember, I want to say back in 2012, we were staying over at the Garden Apartments in Coffeyville. I mean, not in the Gardens, but 3rd Street. And my mom had got us a keyboard. That was one of them keyboards where, you know what I'm saying, you could switch the settings and you could like make the beats and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like, I didn't know how to do that stuff. I didn't at all. I'm not even gonna cap. But like, he figured out how to like type up the little beat and make it like repeat, you know what I'm saying, where he didn't have to just keep typing it out every 5-6 seconds. So like, then he was like, bro, all right, we finna write to this, you know what I'm saying? Back then, we used to get composition books. Like, we'd get a whole bunch of composition books, and we say, bro, we finna write albums to this shit. We finna fill the whole composition book up with songs. And we did used to do this shit, even though a lot of that shit never made it on wax. Like, we used to write up rhymes like it was nothing, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, like, I want to say I really like, I got the music hand 9 years old, but I knew I wanted to do it when we moved back to Coffeyville. We moved back to Coffeyville. And my brother, being him, who he's always been, you know what I'm saying, he got right back to work like he always did. He found a few people that was doing the music scene in Coffeyville. He figured out how to get into the studio, and he made a few videos and shit, and that shit was hard as hell to me. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like, even though the videos was like, you know what I'm saying, on some camcorder shit, like, the fact that he was, you know what I'm saying, back then, 2012, 2013, 2014, everything revolving entertainment was a pipe dream. So to me, watching anybody do it on a bigger scale other than just, you know what I'm saying, rapping out loud, to me, I thought anything could have been big, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. With that being said, wanting to be a rapper, you know what I'm saying, before you were a rapper, you had to want to be a rapper. And to be a rapper, you had to somewhat have an image of a rapper.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got R&B guys, you got rap guys. You know what I'm saying? You always gonna stay true to who you are.
Right.
But at the same time, part of who you are is your image. You know what I'm saying? So, where did you first find your flavor from? Like, when it came to CMB, Cortez,
right,
Debo, like, where did you find that?
See, that's a real good question, for real, because, see, I was doing music, and when I say doing music, I mean, like, I was putting out albums and everything long before I ever found the image. So back then, you know what I'm saying, I felt like I didn't have an image, but I always felt like it was gonna come, you know what I'm saying, once I got a little bit more momentum. But the way I found my image was in a dilemma where I didn't even know who I was at the time. See, I've always went by CM Beats. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my people from Coffeyville, they know me as CM Beats. That was my name back in the day. But when I started going back and forth to Tulsa, that's when I started going by CM Beat. Like, I dropped the, you know what I'm saying, I dropped the last little part of my name, and I just started going by my initials. But that was, like I said, was at a time period where I didn't know like who I was, so I was just wanting to be who I actually was. And I quoted to Mike the Don. Now, what I got from Mike the Don was, like, his name is really Mike, but I feel like, you know, everybody calls him Don, and I feel like that's because, like, truthfully, like, him growing up, he was always this person, but once he actually grew up, he elevated on his own and he grew his own persona, so he just started going by Don. And I kind of took that niche too. I was like, yo, I'm CMB, but like, what defines who I really am? And I got to thinking, right? I always been animated, and my favorite thing, and other than music, is movies. My favorite thing in movies has always been super villains. I don't know why. For some reason, every movie I've ever watched, I've always loved the super villain. Lion King, you got Scar. Batman, you got Joker. Spider-Man, you got Green Goblin. Let's go on and on. We go to horror movies. You got Freddy Krueger. You got Jason. Like, all of these villains, even though they never truthfully got the credit as this is the person who made the movie. You know what I'm saying? This is the person who made every one of us want to come out and watch it. We all knew. And I was like, damn, that's me. Not only do I want to shine in my own light, and not only do I want to do my own thing by any means necessary, but I also want to shed my own light too. I want to walk in a light and where I could be animated, I could do some crazy shit and not feel ashamed about it.
And see, that's where I can agree with you there. Because me being your uncle, watching you grow up, you know what I'm saying, I noticed you became yourself when you realized I got my own swagger. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
When you find yourself and it's kind of like, okay, this is who I am, this is my own person, this is what make me me. Because, you know, we kind of got the similar style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I always saw you just like, man, nephew be coming down.
Yeah.
Because, you know, every time I see you from head to toe, you're going to have your swagger put on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And with that, that became a part of who you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When I see you, you're going to be shiny. You might have some throw glasses on, buffed up. You know what I'm saying? That became a part of your image.
Not very much.
To the point to where when I didn't see you that certain way, I kind of was like, damn, what's going on with you? What he going on? He ain't shining like you normally do, man. He having a bad day today. He ain't want to put on. You know what I'm saying? And to a certain extent, you know, that became the villain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, a part of that is kind of migrated into your music realm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as far as that goes, just like T.I.
Right.
T.I. calls himself the king. You know what I'm saying? Nicki Minaj, she's a Barbie.
Right.
You know, you got all these people that self-proclaim these things
Right.
before they actually became that.
Right.
Because guess what? Don't nobody believe you are who you are unless you make that believable.
I know that's right.
And when it comes to the business world, you know what I'm saying, beyond your personal life, you know, I got my own personal life. Everybody know me as King Swerve, but I'm Reginald.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But to make King Swerve a thing, I got to be on some King Swerve shit.
Right.
To where even though I'm always going to be true to who Reginald is, King Swerve is this persona that, you know, business-wise, this-wise,
Right.
you know, I even, you know, so far as talked to my pastor about dropping the name King Swerve. But he was like, bro, no matter what you got going on, King Swerve is a part of who you are.
Right.
And everybody knows you as King Swerve. They don't know my real name. You know what I'm saying? They may know Reggie's a part of that.
Right.
But for the most part, King Swerve is who I am.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like with the villain, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did you get into that? Like, how did you become the villain? Like,
Right.
what you been on?
See, my thing behind just being the villain is, like you said, we've always, like, we all kind of self-proclaimed a statue before we long ever had it. I feel like if we want to go back to personal life, not to get too personal, you know what I'm saying, but I feel like in my personal life, a lot of people, they already just antagonize me for a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying, I may have or may not have done. But either way, you know what I'm saying, I kind of already take on that persona in their life where I'm just doing this and this and this and this and that, and they're doing nothing. So I'm the villain, you know what I'm saying? And a point in my life, I always was like, you know, I gotta kiss ass, I gotta do this and this and that. And, you know, around the time that I was finding myself, I realized, like, I'm really the shit. I'm the shit. I'm always gonna be the shit. And on top of that, like, I'm gonna do this whether y'all like it or not. You know what I'm saying? So the villain, to me, it just made sense for real. But like I said, it's also a deeper meaning than that too. It's more than just, you know what I'm saying, personal goals too. It also has to do with the fact that the villain, to me, means being the underdog. You know what I'm saying? The hero is the person that gets all the glamour and the glory and all the love, while the villain, being a person who's just wanting to be understood, you know what I'm saying, and be taken as he is, even reach his own goals, you know what I'm saying? They look at him like everything is bad, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just not a good person. And eventually they end up saying, well, if that's what I am, that's what I'm gonna rock with. And on top of that, I'm still gonna chase exactly what I was gonna get. I like, even though being a villain is not a good term, I enjoy it actually, for real. Like I can't even be, I can't even play with you at all, you feel me? Cause like, to me, knowing like I really just don't care, I'm really gonna do me whether anybody like it or not, me standing on that makes me feel more wholesome as a man. Me trying to backtrack and cater to other people's feelings more than my own, that's what make me feel less. So I am the villain. I'm CMB the villain. That's why, hey, my name
CMB
right,
the
my
villain?
initials right in front of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so like the CMB the villain, you know what I'm saying, he a little shiny. You know what I'm saying? And bro, you being my nephew, bro, you done seen me times I done fell off, bounced back. But every time I fell off and bounced back, I bounced back harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how the whole name came in. So everybody knows Swerve gonna get out there and get it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that became a part of my name, a part of my persona, who I am.
And
You know
see,
what I'm saying?
that's one thing
But
I
with
definitely
that being
quote.
said, there came time that I felt so much pressure to live up to that it was like, if I didn't meet that standard,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, that am I really that guy? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like, when it comes to the entertainment industry, I know those type of pressures are probably 10 times worse. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
when it comes to entertainment, like, I can't be saying I'm the swagged up guy and be seen less than that.
Right.
Like, you can't be on your motherfucking video with the same shit you had on your profile picture. Like, you got to have more swagger than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be talking in your rhymes about all these things you've accomplished and done, and no one sees anything physically
Right.
related to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, how you keep it authentic, how you keep it true, how do you keep the popularity, all this cyber shit, man. You know, Facebook, you can kind of make yourself be who you want to be.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can make it extremely believable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's the world we living in. And at the same time, there's a big necessity for that
right.
to pursue your dreams sometimes.
For sure. Yeah.
Because, like, you got to believe and put out everything you say, or else, like, the fuck.
And that's exactly what I'm going, you know what I'm saying, go off of. See, me and my thing is, that's why I'm glad I picked up my persona at the same time I did. I realized that it's not what's on me, it's what's in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that in this lifestyle that we live in as being a rapper, like, you're not going to find too many rappers that's saying, hey, I just spent my last $10 getting some gas money so I could make it to work. You know, like, you just not gonna hear too much of that. A lot of us are talking about a lot of the stuff that either we've done, going to do, or haven't done. I'm just being all the way honest. Like, yes, we all push a persona, but my thing is this, like, I've never, even though I am a flashy person, I've never grew up flashy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always wanted to be the kid, you know what I'm saying, come to school Louis'd out and True Religion jeans and ooh. No, I didn't, you know, my mama, she made sure that I had the coolest Jordans, you know what I'm saying, and I had a nice polo tee and things of that nature. Like, I grew up cool, and I feel like with the persona that I want to shoot, I don't want to be known as the money guy. I don't want to be known as the nigga, you know what I'm saying, talking about cash and woo wop. Every time you see him, he Lambo'd out, and that's not me, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to be the nigga that's outside the gas stations posted up with $100,000 on the side of their arm and 100 niggas and 100. That ain't me. Like,
see, I found myself doing that at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why you notice I don't have a whole lunch of gold on like I used to. You know what I'm saying? I got rid of all that shit because, like, it seemed like when I didn't have it on, motherfuckers didn't, you know what I'm saying?
And
they couldn't see me.
That's something
You know
I'll
what I'm
put
saying?
on.
All they see is what you got.
That's something I'd tell you too, You know why I don't wear gold? Because I got a niche behind that. See, growing up, I wanted to do everything in life. Like, every sport, basketball, football, I wanted to do everything. But for some reason, I never made the varsity team. I made JV. I made C team. You know what I'm saying? I made second cut. So, silver being the second best, that's why I wear it. Because all my achievements in life, I felt like people treated them as second best. And you know what? I'm cool with that.
Symbolic.
I'm okay. I'm low-key fine with being just good enough for me.
Because at the end of the day, you got to keep it real with yourself. It ain't
Exactly.
about what everybody else think. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to keep it true to who you are and what makes who you are.
I swear.
And, like, when it comes to your image, that's where you highlight what makes you who you are.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people follow what they believe.
Right.
People believe what you show.
Right.
You show what you want to be perceived.
Exactly. And that's
And
why I
see,
said,
social media, when you put things out there, that's the hard part of when it comes to an image.
right.
Like, you can't control what people think of you. You can put it out there, you can manipulate it, but at the same time, people will feel whatever they want to feel.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But when you just stay consistent and stay true to what you are and what you believe, you kind of force feed it to them. You know what I'm saying?
Here's my thing though, I feel like in order to appeal to an audience already, you have to make music, you know what I'm saying, to appeal to them. So my thing is this: me already not wanting to be the money guy, why would I make a whole bunch of money music? You know what I'm saying? Why would I perceive
But, dog,
myself?
but at the same time, dog, are you listening to music right now?
Yes, for sure.
Because 90% of the music you listen to is about money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what
Not
I'm
to
saying?
say that
And-
I don't
and
want to teach
a lot
people
of
to
these
get
guys,
money.
They getting money,
Yeah.
but they ain't got it like that.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? And see, I respect a lot of those rappers that come out and tell you, like, motherfucker, I paid $200 for this. You know what I'm saying? It's Moissanite or whatever the fuck diamond, you know, whatever diamonds,
Exactly.
lab diamonds in it. You know, I respect that because they have to maintain that image because it's crucial to their business.
Yes, it is.
But at the same time, they're not stupid enough to go buy all this shit and waste all this money to prove to a lot of motherfuckers that it's never gonna matter to.
Exactly. Because in reality, it don't matter.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
the whole point of that is your motherfucking image is extremely important no matter what you're doing. And
Absolutely.
the image that you're proclaiming, when it comes to business wise, it has to fit, somewhat suit the lifestyle you're living.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Either if it's getting money or I'm chilling, I'm that guy, I'll beat your ass, I got hoes, whatever image you want to proclaim,
Right.
you got to be doing whatever it takes to maintain that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and as being a rapper or an entertainer, you can't, you know, say that you this guy in your music, but no one, like, you don't have anything, no popularity. You're not posting no, like, you got
Absolutely.
people posting all this music, but where the fucking, like, you ain't putting no fire to lead
Right.
up. Like, nobody's gonna listen to it because you got to put that fire on it.
Yeah, you ain't.
You got to be out there in the
context
streets
behind it.
posting videos, posting pictures, looking like that guy that you claiming you are.
Absolutely.
Now, unless you making, you know, music or whatever, you making snap clips about you like on some grimy shit.
Right.
Why would you take pictures and shit or be looking grimy all the time?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You got to elevate to that person you proclaiming you are,
Right.
even if you ain't that person yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of the image of the person you're trying to be or maintain to get to.
Which is why I feel like artist development too should always also be a thing too, because like everybody, you know, not actually having a true team or a true manager, we all don't have no choice but to jump up off of the porch and figure it out for ourselves. But like I'm trying to say, the image is a big important part in the music industry, because the easy part for us all to do is hop on the mic and make a few songs. It's easy for us all to hop in front of a video and jump around, have a few bitches, you feel me, throw a big ass party, and that's easy. All of these things are easy. And I'm actually glad that we're reaching a date in time where the easy shit is actually starting to die out. Because for the last 5 years, we've lived in this easy timing where, you know, 100 niggas outside a gas station with some cool AI effects, it's gonna go crazy. It's gonna go 1 million views. I'm actually glad we're growing back out of that atmosphere. Now people have to do authentic content. Now you have to step outside of the box. Now you have to do something that everybody's not seeing on TV all of the time. Which is the whole game to me about music, showmanship. To me, it ain't about just hopping on a song and showing my pain. That's easy.
But guess what? That's where popularity come in. Because if a lot of people like you, they gonna jam your shit anyway.
Woof.
You know what I'm saying? And
Hey.
like, it's nothing
Ooh.
wrong with being popular and people listening to your music just because they
Right.
like you. It ain't a damn thing wrong with that.
Right.
If you ask me, that's fucking smart.
It really is.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, that comes with anything you got going. Cause, you know, I got my little clothing line.
Right.
You know, there's other clothing lines. Who's better or not, it don't fucking matter.
Absolutely.
But people they gonna flock to who they like.
Exactly.
You know? So like, you got to use your popularity to benefit you. You gotta learn
Absolutely.
how to captivate, you know what I'm saying?
But my question to you is this: has popularity outweighed talent in this day and age we live
Hell
in?
yeah.
Why?
Why? Because that's the world we living in.
But why, huh?
Because that's the world we living in.
OG. It's because us kids run the placement in the industry. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, we have short attention spans. Even the 3-second videos nowadays is barely getting played.
Say that first part again.
It's because we have short attention spans.
I'm talking about why you think it's the way it is before that.
Nah, okay, so say the question again then. My bad.
I just asked you that. How you gonna ask me the same thing, bro?
Oh, hey, don't act like we both ain't had a margarita or two.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to El Chavo.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey.
They got you boy lit.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, like, bruh, when it comes to that type of shit, like, you have to be careful with the type of content you putting out, bruh.
Absolutely.
Cause like, at the same time, I don't know. Cause like, if that's the route you trying to take, then that's just, you gotta do what suits your lifestyle.
And you absolutely
But like,
right.
there's always gonna be repercussions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cause like, look how many people, you know what I'm saying, crashed out trying to maintain the audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look at how many people they always say they sold out, they fake, phony, whatever, just trying to maintain the audience and to please a lot of people that at the end of the day, you by yourself on that pedestal.
Well, let me ask you this, Aunt. Do you feel like, because this is a real question to me, do you feel like, without race, of course, do you feel like the actual word sellout actually is a real term?
Yeah.
Tell me
Hell
why.
the fuck yeah it is.
Tell me why.
Dog, when it comes to selling out, okay, you know, you catch street guys. And once they finally make it out, or even an entertainer, once they make it out of wherever they came from, now you got all these people looking back saying, oh, you sold out because you didn't bring me with you. But at the same time, I had to do everything I had to do to get here on my own.
Absolutely.
And to make it out of my situation is the goal.
Right.
So how the fuck did I sell out? By making it out of my situation.
Exactly.
So, like,
to me personally, I feel like there's levels to life, but I also feel like there's levels to people. And with that being said, I feel like not even in a tax bracket, you know what I'm saying? But you gonna meet some, you know what I'm saying, that are doing cool. You gonna meet some that's doing alright. You gonna meet some that's doing okay. You gonna meet some that's doing good. You gonna meet some that's doing great. Then you gonna meet some that's doing amazing. And guess what? You gonna bounce through all of those categories while you're meeting those people too. So once I get to a status to where I'm right where I need to be, then technically it's not selling out, because in reality we all have to die alone in a casket on our own. So loyalty in this life is, if you have my back, I have yours in every aspect, but not in the case where if I'm going somewhere and you can't go, that means I can't. How's that loyalty? What form of loyalty is that?
I don't know. Because when it comes to loyalty, my nigga, if I've been there with you from every step of the way from the beginning, and once we get to a certain level to where technically you don't need me no more, like, that's not loyalty.
Okay, but what about this, Unc? What if the label calls and they say, we want 100 million. I'm not 100 million, but we want $1 million for him. But he can't come.
What do you mean?
Now we don't care.
See,
we don't care what you do for him, or you know what I'm saying. Whatever we give you is yours. So we don't care what you do with him, but we're not going to take it. So you expect me to miss out on a life changing opportunity
that ain't
because
got nothing
you
to do with
can't?
loyalty.
No,
That's not loyalty.
we talking about the same form, huh?
No, we're not.
Okay, explain.
No, we're not. Cause like, bro, if me and you start a business together, or whatever together, we and you start a music group, and some music producer comes in and wants you over me, that ain't got nothing to do with loyalty because they want you.
And
you're not being disloyal to me if you go on with that group without me.
Okay.
Because we can do our thing without them.
So then, okay.
So how's that being disloyal
No, because
to
you said
me? Because
you said business.
You got a deal.
You said business.
And I didn't get a deal.
Okay, so you said business, right? So we'll switch it to a business term.
Now, as long as you being loyal to me, that ain't got nothing to do with what you got doing with them.
No. So, okay, we'll switch it to a business term.
So you're supposed to go do what you're doing
We'll
with
switch
them,
it to a business
but you're
term.
not supposed to stop doing what you're doing with me because
Hold on,
what you're doing with
we'll
them.
switch it to a business
and
term.
if you can't do that, at least communicate that like a real nigga,
Right.
a business nigga,
No, I understand that.
a man,
But hold on, let me switch it to a business
whatever.
term.
Now, if you just go off with them and skate on me,
Right.
then I'm gonna call you a hoe.
Right.
Because you could have came to me like a man when I done been there with you since day one.
Right. That's
That's when I would have called you disloyal and a sellout. Because you could have came to me and talked to me like a man, like you did them motherfuckers that you ran off with.
I get it. I get it. But hold on, OG.
That's what I would have said.
Before I close
and that's
that
what I
up.
would have said you being
Before I
disloyal.
close it up, OG.
Because
Let me
you
say
playing
this.
both sides, nigga.
Before I close it up, let me
And
say
that's
this,
what
OG.
disloyal people do, play both sides.
So hear out then. If that same said company, right?
You could have just came to me and be like, look here, dog. Man, I got a record deal. Look what Nelly did.
Yeah.
That motherfucker had a whole lunatics.
Yeah.
What he do? He ran off and did his thing solo with them niggas. Soon as he got that bag, what the fuck he do? Because he communicated.
Right.
Look here, nigga, I'm finna go get this bag. Once I get this bag, I got y'all.
Right.
So let me get this bag
But I
quick, then I'ma break bread, because that's what loyal motherfuckers do.
I said,
Now,
OG,
if you
I said
tell
I was
me,
gonna do
you
that
know
at
what?
least.
You know what? I got this new label and they told me I can't fuck with you no more. So I'm just finna go with them. Then,
That's sellout.
then you a sellout.
That's a
nigga.
sellout. That's a sellout. That's a sellout for sure. But
That's different.
I don't know. I feel like, you know.
You supposed to be happy for your friends when they elevate, else you not a real friend.
Yes.
Even
For
if
sure.
I can't go with you, I want you to reach past the stars. Fuck the stars, nigga.
Right,
You supposed to
right,
go way
right.
past that.
But hold on, OG. Let me put it in a business term too. If a business comes and they say, me and you have a company, we split it, you know what I'm saying, 50-50. And the business says,
Seem like to me,
the
you
business
trying to make
says
a way to manipulate
they
a
want
way
to buy my share of the business, but they don't want his.
What does
and-
that have to do with me? That's a whole different business deal with them.
That's the no.
So the
don't
only
do
way
that.
I'm gonna be salty is if you play that shit like a hoe.
Okay,
what
so
you got going on
how
with
can I
them
play it
ain't
like
got
a hoe?
nothing to do with
So
me.
how can I play it like a hoe then?
Because, bro, if me and you are a team, what you got doing outside of the team ain't got shit to do with me, bro.
Okay.
So if you doing some shit, making some moves and shit pop for you, that's your move. Then I'm gonna be the one on some hoe ass shit. But dog, if you play me like a hoe while you doing this shit, then
That's fair enough. That's fair
you
enough.
found the opportunity and played me like a hoe because
Right.
of your opportunity when we had our own shit going.
You're right.
That's how that goes. Opportunities.
I feel you. Nah, I'm following.
Because, bro, if me and you got something going on, I don't give a fuck what else I got going on.
Right.
That's between me and something else. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we got going is gonna be that.
Nah, I feel you. I'm
So that's where this loyal shit come in, when lack of communication, clarity,
right.
Sometimes you just have to cut ties with a motherfucker. Just let them
Real
go.
life, for real.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody ain't meant to be on the squad.
So, like, with that being said, anyway, that's how it is sometimes. Because once you reach a certain level, sometimes it ain't even, you might stay on where you at. That's part of who you are. That's part of your image. That's part of the role you trying to take.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to mix and mold and put people where they belong.
Amen to that.
And you got to stay in your own lane to create your own way.
Right.
And once you find that way, you got to ride that motherfucker like it ain't no turning back.
Right.
So at the end of the day, popularity, image, all that shit goes together to make your way.
Absolutely, for sure. You know, I definitely agree. But it take all three of them in a strong three, for real. And I feel like, honestly, in a day, even with the hot rappers, for real, I feel like somebody likes on one of them ones. You know what I'm saying? They might have the popularity, but they don't got the image, or they don't got, you know, the sound placement, the music to go with it. You got rappers that got the popularity, but they music trash. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, they don't got no real image. They just you know what I'm saying? The guy who used to score 100 touchdowns at the football game, and now he rap. Like, I feel like I'm not mad at nobody for using their resources to get far in life, but man, bro, we gotta stop making these people just because they got a bunch of friends make them feel like they hard. No, man. No.
That's where popularity comes in, though. Maybe you need some more popular friends.
that might be true too.
Part of how it go, man.
That might be true too. But all I'm saying is, just you gotta know what's what. Just cause you popular don't mean you good at rapping, and just cause you good at rapping don't mean you popular.
But at the same time, you need them both to make a star.
For sure.
Because, you know, it's a lot of rappers that I wouldn't, you know, really like, but at the same time, they popular, man. And I like them as a person because of how popular they were. Just like Gucci, man. I didn't like Gucci at first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he was so popular, and he had, you know, the catchy, you know, the catchy hooks and stuff. So, you know, it was all good.
Right. Nah, Gucci,
but anyway,
definitely an OG.
We gonna wrap it up for a show tonight. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? Touch a nerd.
You know that OG.
With the bitches, I know that they hiding. I got the gauge, you ready, we sliding. See the wrist and they know that we shining. You got the paper.